Welcome back in. This segment of the Sports Source is brought to you by Games and Things. They are known as the ultimate man cave store. But what if you want an upscale, entertaining area and less of a game room? Well, they've got you covered. Home theater seating, pub stools, pub tables, bars, even jukeboxes. Check it all out at Games and Things. Okay, we've covered the 2023 draft. How about our way too early look ahead to the 2024 draft? Here are a number of publications looking ahead to next year's draft prospects. 24/7 Sports, top 3 at each position. No Vols included. NBC Sports, top 5 at each position. No Vols included. Keep going down the line. Where are the Vols? You do see Dante Thornton, transfer from Oregon, mentioned last segment, but barely cracking that top 200. Is that an overreaction to what Tennessee has coming back? And we're going to cover why we were wrong a year ago about the Vols not having as many NFL draft prospects as we found out a year later. And where would you start the conversation for the draft next year?
Well, I mean, I think you got to start with Joe Milton. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's you take a guy like Anthony Richardson who went to the combine. He was not a good quarterback at Florida, but by golly, you know, he set a record for the broad jump or the high jump or some kind of jump.
Or pretty much everything.
Yeah, you know, and all of this stuff. Well, Milton has that same kind of ability. He's played more than Richardson has. Some of his tape obviously isn't that great, but I think he's a guy whose upside is just unlimited. If he has a good season, when he gets to the combine, he will blow, I think, the NFL away. I mean, you know, so I think he is the first one that comes to mind. Is Milton is the guy that all of these prognostications are going to be wrong about.
Well, before we get to the other guys, it's interesting you start there because I think NFL teams already have taken a look at Joe Milton. If we can bring up a graphic with a quote from Cole Kubelik, ESPN SEC Network. He was on my radio show, Josh and Swain, here in the last couple of weeks, and shared a story from Tennessee's Pro Day from a few weeks ago, saying, quote, apparently once the hype and the momentum got going, Heupel actually shut Joe down at the Pro Day. And you're thinking, shut him down. So rules allow other guys to go out and work out, and Joe, word traveled that he was going to be throwing at Tennessee's Pro Day. Hendon Hooker's not fully recovered from his ACL, right? So Heupel said, according to Kubelik, listen, this is getting to the point that this is going to take away from the other guys, and this is those guys' opportunity to go make a career out of football and to go play professionally, and for some of them maybe to live out their dreams. And I don't want to hurt that. I don't want the attention to be taken away from somebody who might have that opportunity. So, according to Cole, there was already attention for next year's draft on Joe Milton ahead of this year's NFL draft. And I do think that's a great story of where Josh Heupel's thinking was with this year's players. But that says something, right? That NFL teams were that interested, that hype started to grow to see Joe Milton?
Yeah, great interview, first of all, with Cole. And then that story is awesome in a number of ways. The NFL does value those pro day throws. That's why they wanted Joe Milton to do it. Guess where Will Levis's hype train started with the NFL? At Kentucky's pro day last year. He was throwing to Kentucky's wide receivers. He was in probably no sleeve shirt and following through and holding that pose so he can flex like that. So he's one of those workout guys, and so he got the chance to do that. Joe Milton was going to wow all the pro scouts there.
Absolutely.
I think it's awesome that Heupel said Joe's tape is going to do that for him. He doesn't need that like Levis does, and not take away from those other guys, because I do think the NFL guys, everyone's attention would have been to him.
Yeah, and absolutely, that Joe Milton has a chance from being a 6th-round pick to a 1st-round pick to a top 10 pick. I mean, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah.
With what he's going to be able to do in the combine, if he puts enough tape out there, some coach somewhere is going to go, I can make the difference. Even if he doesn't have the greatest year, they're going to say, with that talent, I can make the difference. And he's going to get drafted high. I don't think there's any doubt. I'd be surprised if he's not drafted in the 1st round just because of that, if he has a halfway decent season.
Yeah, I wonder, when those were last updated, some of those those prognostications. Because if you think of it now, in the here and now, Joe Milton's got to be on some of those lists.
The irony, I have run us out of time in this segment focusing on Joe just as
Yeah.
that pro day might. Anybody else you'd throw out quickly, though, that has a chance to jump up not getting attention? I wouldn't mention Amari Thomas. I like his potential on the defensive
Brew
line.
McCoy.
Brew McCoy at wide receiver. I
Cooper
think.
Mays.
Cooper Mays.
Being at center, leading that offense, I think there's a chance.
Vital
for
to
him.
this offense.
Yeah.
Maybe Spraggins, but Ramel Keaton even as well. I think
Yeah.
so.
Aaron Beasley, another player maybe on defense who has grown. We're talking about guys taking a jump, kind of like Theo Jackson or Jalen Hyatt.
Right.
Guys to watch. We were wrong a year ago, so why don't we come back and figure out why that was the case? When we come back, what we got wrong to miss out on how many Vols would be selected this past weekend in the NFL draft, right here on the Sports Source.